to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. It's time!
Back in your life on this Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020. This is the Church of MMA podcast. My name is Tabor Cragen.
My name is Mason Knight, and today we are talking about episode 26, UFC Blaydes versus Volkov recap. We jump into some MMA news after that, and then we are going to talk about the Poirier versus Hooker preview. I cannot wait for this card.
I seriously can't. I almost wish we could just start with that because that's how excited I am to talk about that.
That's going to be a great fight. But man, what a great week of fights.
Yeah, it has been. Just really a great week in general. I don't know. How was your Father's Day, by the way?
It was really good. And actually, ironically enough, Pops couldn't watch it Saturday night. So for Father's Day, we just sat down and, I had already watched the fight. So I just rewatched all the best ones with him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he enjoyed that quite a bit. So it was a really good Father's Day.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah.
How was yours?
Great. Spent some time with him, hung out by the pond, waiting at breakfast, spent time with all the Cragans. Great day overall. So that was the reason why we didn't put an episode out on Monday, guys. Sorry about that. But it was Father's Day, so if you're mad, go fuck yourself. Anyway.
Well, the truth shall set you free, Tapes.
Yeah. But a great week overall, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Great Monday. Yeah. We're just back. I can't fucking wait to we just got to get started. I just can't even talk. We're getting started. But before we do, guys, quick shout out to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Posting funny memes. We're trying to make you guys laugh. We're growing our community, posting clips.
Yes, we are.
Also follow us on YouTube. Almost said Twitter again. YouTube at the Church of MMA. Subscribe. We're gaining subscribers every single day. Join the hype, guys. It's real.
It is real. And Instagram followers, too. I was taking a peek at that. I could not believe it. We gained quite a few in the last couple of days. I was like,
Which was shocking because we got stuck right around the 69. I'm not too mad about that, but
right. But now, it's grown in the last 2-3 days.
Yeah,
I just keep seeing more and more people follow it. So
I love
that's
it.
awesome.
I love it. Keep it going, guys. Show all your friends, show your family members, share our stuff. This is how you grow the community, and we appreciate all of the stuff we have been gotten so far.
And we're we're MMA fans, we're UFC fans, and you guys are the same. And this is kind of the voice of the fans, in my opinion. That's the way I look at this podcast. So
yes, let's get started into our recap show.
Alrighty.
Oh my goodness, we're doing things a little bit different today. We're just gonna go straight into the main event because that was the most talked about thing of this entire card, mainly in some cardio on the side of Curtis Blaydes. But boy, this fight started off very fast.
It did.
Yeah.
Very fast paced. And I'm telling you, these 25-foot cages,
it's crazy.
They are forcing the fighters. They're forcing them. Mm-hmm. They're forcing them to combat. They're forcing them to engage with one another. And it doesn't matter. It can be grappling. It can be in the stand-up. But I really like the idea of this 25-foot cage. Mm-hmm. I said foot like 3 times there. Yeah. Stuttering.
I fucked up earlier, too, so it's all good. But
yeah.
Yeah, I agree, dude. The shorter cage, it's crazy, especially when you get grapplers in there. Mm-hmm. They just get to close that distance so much faster, and it's harder for guys that really want to fight off their back foot in that shorter cage. Like, I'd love to see a Wonder Boy get up in there.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, that'd be crazy to watch, just to see him move that quickly side to side. There was a few fights earlier where some people went side to side. We'll get into that and looked really well. But this main event, Curtis Blaydes, does he have the best wrestling in the heavyweight division?
Maybe barring a DC.
Yeah, other than maybe a DC and maybe Stipe, I think he's up there. He's definitely an elite grappler.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, you could, and this is no disrespect to Curtis Blaydes because we talked about it on the last podcast. I think his striking has improved tremendously in the last 2 or 3 years. So I don't say this as an insult, but you could almost call Curtis Blaydes a specialist. Mm-hmm. That's how good he is grappling. That's how good he is on the ground. And he showed that all 5 rounds of this fight. Was it the most entertaining fight?
No, absolutely
no. And especially coming off that co-main event that we will talk about later. Especially coming off that fight, it was like, wow, okay, total change of pace. But I didn't hate this fight.
No.
I wasn't like, I know Dana White wasn't too happy with the fight afterwards, was not a big fan of the way that this went down.
Yeah, said that he looked stupid.
And I disagree with Dana entirely on that one. Entirely. It was a dominant performance on the ground. Did he do a lot? Was there a lot of ground and pound? No, there wasn't. But he did control him, and Volkov didn't have an answer for that. Not only that, Curtis Blaydes had tweeted or Instagrammed, whatever it was, 2 days or 3 days before the fight and said, you guys think you're going to get a 25-minute brawl? Well, you're crazy. I'm going to take this man down and wear him out for 25 minutes. And that is exactly the game plan Curtis Blaydes implemented.
Yeah, I essentially said, if you want to see anything other than what I'm telling you right now, don't even watch the fight.
Yeah.
And he was right.
And he was right on.
Yeah, he fucking, I mean, did he ragdoll him, which is what he said?
I don't think so.
It was borderline. It was pretty close in a few of those takedowns attempts. There was a couple nice suplexes in there.
Well, and for the expenditure of energy that Curtis Blaydes, like some of those takedowns, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a heavyweight.
Oh, yeah.
This is a heavyweight, and he's expending this much energy. I did not see how he was going to be able to maintain that pace for 5 full rounds, but he did. But man, that post-fight, I thought he was going to pass out when he was getting interviewed. Mm-hmm. Like, I literally thought his eyes were rolling. He was moving back and forth as he was getting interviewed. He couldn't even catch his breath. And that was a good 4 or 5 minutes after the fight. Mm-hmm. Wild.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't the best representation of himself, too, because he couldn't even talk that well.
No, he couldn't.
And yes, Curtis Blaydes is a guy with a speech impediment. And yes, his lips apparently were almost ripped in half. Mm-hmm. Did you see how bad those cuts were? I mean, it wasn't Rosenstrike Overeem cut.
No, it was not that kind of cut.
It definitely wasn't that.
Or
it was a bad
Robbie
one.
Lawler cut.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't that either. But yeah, there was definitely a bad cut on his lower lip. So I'm shocked the guy even said as much as he did.
Yeah, so am I. Honestly, he could barely talk. Yeah. I was like, this man, like, hook him up to some oxygen, get a paramedic in here. He needs to be evaluated. Yeah. He needs to be looked at. Goodness gracious.
Honestly.
But yeah, I just, again, completely disagreed with Dana White there. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but he got the job done. And that's all you got to ask. That's what you ask of your fighters. Go in there and get the job done and get the W. And that's what he did. Curtis Blaydes, again, we've talked about it, but I just feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, my heart goes out to him. Only 2 losses, Francis Ngannou, both knockouts. And it's like Francis is going to get the next title shot. So what do we do with Curtis Blaydes? He did say he wants to fight one more time in 2020. My guess, probably take the winner of the Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis
who is he fighting?
Gosh, I forget now.
I forget
but anyway,
too. It's
the winner
someone
of
good.
that. Yeah. Was it Herman?
No. Ed Herman? No, he's a light heavyweight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Shout out Ed Herman, local boy. Anyways, but Curtis Blaydes, some fighters, Chael, Dana, others were saying that, he kind of just gassed in the third and then survived for 2 rounds in the 4th and 5th. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. No.
I didn't see a man that was about to get his ass kicked and just survive into the bell.
I didn't see that either, and that's where I disagree. Was he tired?
Yes,
was
absolutely. He was gassed bad.
For sure. I mean,
but he was still getting takedowns.
He's a 261-pound heavyweight. He's going to get tired, man. But I did not think it was a man who was scared to fight a Volkov.
Yeah.
Like, I disagreed with a lot of the...
a lot of the criticism.
Yeah,
there was a lot of
criticism. I know. I thought it was unwarranted.
Yeah, well, they were saying, like, if you're going to talk all that shit, you got to, like, knock a guy out in the first round or something. If you want your Francis Ngannou 3 fight, which is essentially the only fucking way he ever gets a belt or even the title shot, he needs to fight Francis again, which that's not a fight. I kind of get this point. That performance was not the performance that gets you that Francis Ngannou 3 fight.
But he wasn't going to get it anyway. Let's not kid ourselves.
That's what I think as well. Yeah, so that's a great point.
Let's not kid ourselves. So Curtis Blaydes going in there knows he's not getting the next shot against Ngannou. Let's say Stipe and DC retire. It doesn't matter. Curtis Blaydes is not sellable in that fight. As much as I think he would deserve it, he's not going to get that. So go in there and get the W.
Let's just say right now, that's what happens. DC let's say DC gets knocked out again and it's super sad. Everyone's crying because that's his retirement fight. And then and Stipe goes, hey, I'm the greatest heavyweight of all time. I retire also. Who does Francis fight? If he's going to be the guy, who does he fight for the belt? He's already beaten everybody. Just give it to him.
Yeah.
John Jones?
You have to. Yeah, John Jones, but that's never going to happen. Get done. That'll never get done. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe you set up Curtis Blaydes versus Derek Lewis if he wins this fight.
Yeah, and if he wins that, then maybe he gets. Then he's got to
get it. He deserves it.
Yeah, he's the only other guy. But unfortunately, he's getting finished twice.
Let me ask you something too, because this is a little baffling to me. This was a main event, so it was 5 rounds. The MMA community is a little weird to me, especially in this aspect with Blaydes and pitching him so much shit. Why is it that other people can take someone down for 5 rounds and it's okay? So using an example, Tyron Woodley versus Usman or Habib.
Yeah,
why is it okay for those grapplers, but just because Curtis Blaydes is a heavyweight, they expect like a knockout TKO? I don't understand that, and I don't get that. What about Stipe? What about Stipe and Ngannou? What'd he do to him? He laid on him for 5 rounds, man, and just tired him out. That's what Curtis Blaydes did.
That was a legendary performance.
Yeah, I again, like, I am defending Curtis Blaydes here because I think it's completely unwarranted. It's not going to win fight of the year, but I wasn't bored with the fight. I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was fascinating that Volkov didn't have an answer for those takedowns.
I agree with everything you just said, other than the last thing you just said, which I wasn't bored with the fight. I actually was for some reason. I wasn't entertained in those last few rounds. I don't know what. I don't know if that was my just bleed guy showing through. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I wasn't entertained in those 4th and 5th rounds. I was sitting there going, "Fuck." Maybe it was just the Shane Burgos fight, and maybe we should just lead into that.
Yes, let's lead into that because I think that is a lot of the reason, Tabor, why there was so much animosity or so much critique for Curtis Blaydes.
You know what it is? It's Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Zhang Wei Li, and then Yoel Romero.
Yeah,
it's exactly what it was, dude.
For sure.
Yeah. So so that just answered my question right there.
Yeah, but shout out to Curtis Blaydes. You got the job done. You did what you needed to do. Take that W. And he says he's the heel now. He's the heel.
I don't get that, dude.
I don't get that. Curtis Blaydes is a good guy.
Yeah, he's been a great guy, and he you know who the heel is? We all know who the heel is. It's Colby Covington. It's guys like that.
Yeah,
bro, you're so far away from that. You can't.
Curtis Blaydes just seems like a guy you could literally just get a beer with at the bar.
Yeah, he does. He seems like a super nice guy.
Like a nice
Maybe
guy.
that was him talking shit to the fullest extent. He's just so nice. That it even comes off as just a nice guy.
I'm a heel. Like, no, you're not. You're a good dude, Curtis.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the Emmett Burgos fight.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. You took him 2nd round?
Oh, I did, yes.
Yeah, I took him 4th round. So, yeah, obviously it went to distance. So, 1 point for both of us. But, yeah, Josh Emmett, Shane Burgos. Oh, my God.
Wow, did this live up to the hype or
Absolutely.
what? Fight of the year candidate.
Yep.
Obviously not going to
it's not going to win. It's
Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
And I even think it's one notch below Dan Hooker, Paul Felder. But
yeah,
it's
that's
up
fair.
there.
But it was phenomenal fight nonetheless. So entertaining. Shane, let's talk about the Shane Burgos chin.
Oh my goodness. Legendary. It's Tony Ferguson-esque.
You know what? He talks about how he rolls with punches. He's right on the money.
Yeah.
Go back and watch that. He would take like 20% of those. He would roll every time he would get hit. They weren't, like when you throw a stiff jab and you kind of daze someone. He wasn't getting dazed with those punches. He was rolling with them real well, tucking the chin. It looked great.
And not just anybody's punches. Punches that have fucking flatlined people. Flatlined. Michael Johnson?
Oh my God. Oh my God. That was a beautiful knockout.
Beautiful knockout. Who's the guy whose jaw he shattered? I don't know. There's just so many. The guy's a knockout artist.
Yes,
He's got some of the hardest hands in the entire 145 division. I think maybe him and Stevens are like neck and neck for hardest 145ers.
Man, I got to give it to Emmett as far as the best knockout artist in the featherweight division.
Really?
Yeah, the way he hits people, man. It's just like he's a truck.
Yeah, and so, we talked about Shane Burgos' toughness, but Emmett's toughness.
Oh.
Dude, to shred your knee?
He blew it out, folks, in the first minute of this
30
fight.
seconds or something like that.
Yeah,
crazy.
Within the first minute of this fight, he blew out his knee, torn ACL, sprained meniscus, a fractured shin bone. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he looked so good. His boxing looked phenomenal. And we shouldn't be shocked because this is a guy who has showed out in essentially every performance.
Yes.
He got KO'd viciously by Stevens. But we have to remember, he was winning that fight.
Yeah, he was.
He was winning that fight until that happened. So I understand why he's so heated. He had a lot of animosity towards the media, the fans, the UFC itself.
And that's what I don't understand about a guy like Emmett is we maybe, because we watch every single week, we're more familiar with Emmett, but I think he's a phenomenal fighter. I love it. When he's on a card, I'm going to watch that card.
Absolutely, every time.
Because he's such an entertaining and dynamic fighter. And so it just baffles me that... But I thought it is kind of weird, though, the whole media situation, because I feel like some of that is a little unwarranted because I don't feel like all the media, because I listen to a lot of different MMA podcasts like Ariel Helwani and John Anik and Ken Flo. And, they're not really saying bad things. They would just pick Shane. But I think it really irritated Josh Emmett's camp.
And maybe it's the fact that they're not saying enough.
Yes.
Because this guy's very under the radar.
And I don't know why.
Which is weird because, he was, number 4 in the world before he got KO'd? And now he's got to be top 6.
Oh,
he's got to be
after
up there.
A fight like that, yeah.
And Shane Burgos, his stock doesn't fall either.
No, it does
this
not.
guy is so fucking tough. Like, not only just tough, but he's good.
He
was landing great counter shots. There was times he was stunning Emmett and almost I don't want to say almost put him away, but there was times you could tell Emmett was hurt bad.
Oh, yeah.
And he just had such a good poker face. That's got to be... That's a huge part of fighting nowadays. It's just being able to take a huge shot when you know you're almost getting knocked out, but not be able to show it. It's mental games and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the most impressive things, though, about Emmett was Shane Burgos had like a 5 or 6 inch reach advantage.
And still had the
He was able
advantage
to
on the
close
inside.
he was able to close the distance, no problem. He was able to put together some beautiful combinations and land. And again, going back to Shane Burgos, like a great chin and everything. And I'm telling you right now, if he works on his head movement.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
But more importantly, keeps his hands up. He likes to fight with his hand down.
A lot of guys are doing that nowadays. It's a new style. It's a new thing.
And I understand that to a point because it's fluidity and stuff.
Yeah,
It'd
and
be
it's
like water,
takedown
Bruce Lee,
defense.
but in takedown defense. But at the same time, he's not going to be able to withstand that sort of punishment his whole career.
Absolutely.
It's
You can't
not
take
possible.
fights like that.
I mean, look at Justin Gaethje for one.
Yeah, and he almost got knocked out in the third. Like, we haven't even mentioned that. Like, Emmett almost finished him.
He did.
Viciously in the third. Like, his face was showing it. It was really showing that wear and tear.
And I was really irritated when I was watching that fight. I was like, please don't end this in the third. Don't end it in the third. Don't end it in the third.
Because I picked third round TKO. I was screaming at my TV, dude. I was like, "Oh, let's go!"
I know, and I was
finish
like,
him.
because all the way up to that point, we were tied for our points this week, and I'm like, dude, this jackass is gonna get 3 points right here. But luckily, the boy Shane Burgos freaking survived.
Yeah.
It's a great fight, though.
Amazing.
I had so much fun with that.
Yeah, so much fun just watching it. I wish I should have went back and watched it again. That's just how good of a fight it was, honestly.
Absolutely.
So yeah, as I said, I took Emmett third round KO, and fuck, I was close.
Yeah, I picked Emmett first round KO. First off, my apologies to Shane Burgos. I will never doubt your chin again, and you will never be finished if you fight like that.
If
you roll with
Emmett
punches
can't
like
finish
that,
you, I don't know who can.
yeah.
Dude.
So even if I do pick against you in the future, I'm never going to pick you getting a stoppage. Maybe a submission. Maybe someone might submit you down the road.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to pick him next fight. Actually,
Yeah, that guy's a savage.
Yeah,
he's still an up and coming guy. He's a second loss, second road bump in the career. The 145 division is just so good right now. I mean, obviously,
but there's a lot of guys who I agree, but I disagree because yes, there's a lot of talent in the featherweight division, but it is not on the forefront like the lightweight division,
I agree.
like the welterweight division. It's just for whatever reason the featherweights aren't getting the love from the fans that I think they
they're
deserve.
not fighting. The top 5 hasn't
Good point.
fucking fought, and
Yeah.
Ortega hasn't fought since he fought Holloway.
Good point.
Holloway's
Korean
had
Zombie
two
too.
title fights in between them.
Yeah. Korean Zombie's out of the country, so he's not coming in anytime soon.
Yeah, so that's why that
a tricky
division's not
scenario.
moving. It's like nobody's fighting at the top.
Yeah.
Cater's going to take a big fight. Fuck, I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh yeah, we'll jump into that in the MMA news.
Yeah, I can't
All
wait
right,
for that.
let's talk about this Raquel Pennington fight.
Yeah, another great fight. That was so. I feel like I have to go straight into this because I watched this fight today. I didn't get to watch this fight on Saturday night. I watched it today. I was doing these notes while I was watching it, and honestly, I was kind of paying more attention to the notes during the fight until she got kneed right in the taco, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
I watched the rest of it after that, and she looked pissed off after that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She fucked her up for the rest of those round and a half.
Man,
Raquel's so tough, man.
Raquel is a tough woman in everything that she has gone through. I learned recently about her full history. At one point, they thought potentially her leg was going to be amputated.
What?
Did you know about that?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, I guess a side-by-side had fell on her leg when she was out hunting with her family. They do like family
And that shit
hunting
happens all the
trips.
time. Just get a little to go a little go around a corner too fast.
Yeah, they almost amputated because she got something. What is it called?
Gangrene or something
yeah,
like that?
something to that effect. It wasn't gangrene, but it was something to that effect where they were real close to amputating her leg.
That's crazy.
It's wild, dude. She had so many other issues too, and that's to bring up the whole Amanda Nunes fight, to tie it in with the Max. What's his name?
Rofskov's.
Yeah, Rofskov's or whatever situation. She had kind of elaborated on why she had felt that way.
Yeah.
Because Amanda had attacked her leg early and she felt like, her leg was going to go. So,
yeah, understandable.
She's so tough.
So tough.
She really is.
So tough and so good in the clinch. Mm-hmm. And then I rewound it. I watched the first round over again, but her clinch game has really come a long way. Yeah. And she looks like she's so much stronger than a lot of these natural 135ers. She's a big girl. I don't know how much weight she's cutting. It seems like it might be a lot because her build, she's got a different build than a lot of these 135ers.
She does. She could definitely fight at 145.
Definitely. She's jacked for sure for her weight. I mean, she makes the weight perfectly every time. So, it's a great cut for her, obviously. Maybe she doesn't have to move up, and there's really no reason to. I mean, there's no fights at 145 anyways.
No, there are not.
Yeah, so where does she go? I mean, she's one of these girls that, wins one, loses two, wins another one, loses one.
Yeah, she's had a very back and forth career.
Well, her record is now 11-9.
11-8.
It was 9. It's because she was 10-9 before the fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, remember, she's coming off that loss to Holly Holm. And we remember that fight as being probably the worst fight of the entire card. Yeah. So that was a terrible fight. Was not entertaining in the least. But I don't know, man. I don't really know where she goes. She's kind of stuck. I mean, she's still a top 5 girl in this 135-pound division. Like, we have to pretty much just wait for this Holly Holm and Irene Aldana fight to even see who Amanda Nunes might fight. Yeah. If she even takes a 135 fight.
Yeah, and there were kind of like a little stirrings that she may retire, but I don't think that's the case with Amanda. I was on that train for a while, but after seeing how dominant she was in her last fight, I don't know. I don't think she'll ever retire. I mean, why retire? When you're as dominant as you are and you're making that money and you're providing for your family and your newborn child, why would you retire?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So I took Raquel unanimous decision, so I did get 3 points for that.
Yep. And I actually had the exact same pick, so it's a Walsh.
Great job.
Yeah. Same with this Bilal Muhammad fight too.
This was
a
great fight.
Great fight.
This was awesome. Really a great fight,
and it was back and forth too. It was so back and forth.
That third round was crazy.
It was. I thought at one and
like I was like this Lyman.
To Malal.
Yeah, and I was like Lyman Good won this third. I was like shit, he might have won this fight depending on who the judges. I would say round by round. I thought Bilal was so good. We should start in the first. Really, I'm going all over the place.
That's okay.
Bilal Muhammad looked really good.
Yes,
obviously. There was a huge size difference. Lyman Good. How the fuck does he make 170?
I have no idea.
Dude, he looks like Yoel Romero out there. He is huge.
He's jacked, man.
He is so big. I thought he was wearing a jacket. Dude, he's just covered in tats. I thought he was wearing a coat or something. I was like, oh my God, that's his skin? I was like, that guy's huge.
Yeah, dude.
And he looked like he was ballooned up. Crazy. Bilal's a huge 170, I think. Like, that guy ain't making 165 if there was a 165-pound division.
Bilal?
So, yeah, I don't think so. So he's jacked as well. But he made him look small. Made him look like a lightweight. So Bilal in the first round was so good side to side. Wasn't getting touched with nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. Second round, I felt like it was almost the same.
Yeah. How did you score the first and second?
First and second, I gave Bilal.
Okay. So that third round... And this isn't the vast majority, but do you think it could have been warranted for a 10-8?
For who? It depends on, well, I don't know, man, because that third round was really back and forth. Yeah. I mean, Lyman was landing massive shots, almost KO'd him. Almost KO'd him a couple of times.
Right.
Bilal was showing that champion survivability.
And I personally do not think the 10-8 would have been warranted there. But I'm not going to lie. As I was watching it, I was wondering under the new scoring system if these judges may potentially score that. But then again, he
took him down.
Yeah, Bilal took him down
and almost
45 seconds.
And almost submitted him, which is even crazier. So it's like, who won the round?
No.
I thought it was Lyman.
Lyman definitely won that round. Unquestionably won that round.
Depending on the judge,
and I'm telling you, right, depending on the judge, I guess.
Yeah.
But the last 45 seconds, had Bilal not taken him down, I really think that potentially might have been a 10-8 round.
Really? So it could have been a draw almost.
Yeah.
Wow, that would have been crazy.
But I don't think two judges would have scored that 10-8, maybe one. But I thought Lyman Good dominated the third round.
Yeah, he
until that last 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he pulled off a submission attempt, and you can't really give a 10-8 to a guy who tried to submit someone and almost pulled it off.
Yeah, almost did it in the third.
You know,
that would have been crazy.
Man, barring those 45 seconds, I was thinking watching that third round, I was like, oh my God, Bilal's going to get knocked out. Yeah. I thought at one point they were going to score that at 10-8.
Yeah, it was really, really close. And that second round, like, it was so close as well. I mean, depending on the judge, Lyman Good was really finding his punches there towards the end of the second.
Oh, yeah.
And he was finding huge power shots, man. That guy's got so much power. He's so big. One shot can KO you instantly. So the chin on Belal was legendary to not go out in that third because, oh, my goodness, he ate some power shots. Power shots that separate dudes from their consciousness instantly. Yeah. So congrats on him, man. So I did take Muhammad. I took him unanimous decision. So that was 3 points for me.
Yep. I also picked Belal Muhammad, UD, so I also have 3 points.
Awesome. This fight, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Jim Miller, my man. My man still got it.
I first and foremost on this podcast, Jim Miller, I owe you a huge apology. I am such a jackass for even counting you out. It's one of those weird things, man. He looked really good.
Oh yeah,
in this fight, like surprised the living hell out of me. I was like, whoa, okay, yeah. It was as soon as it went to the ground, it was one of those things where it was like, okay, Roosevelt Roberts is in trouble.
And credit to him because he did not look bad on the ground at all. On his back, he did great with the wrist, wasn't letting Jim really move anywhere, kind of kept him in his half guard, kept him almost in the half, I don't really kind of side mount. It was almost knee on belly. It was close, kind of in between positions, but controlled his wrist. And then exploded out, almost got out of it. But when he got caught in that arm bar, I was like, oh, no. Yeah. And even the commentator said, oh, that's tight.
It was tight, too, yeah. When he pulled that back, I was like, he's not.
That was the mistake. Yeah, he should have just let Jim stay on the ground.
When he should have put more top pressure on him, too. I felt like he kind of let Jim push him up on his, with his legs.
Yep, and then he got his extension.
You got to keep that pressure on him.
Yeah, he was fucked after that, and that was a real quick tap, 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 tap.
Yeah,
Verbal tap. Yeah, there wasn't no time for actually tapping.
Oh, it was so funny. Ken Dog, I showed him that fight, and he didn't hear him say tap, 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 and he goes, Ken was all mad. Fuck? He's like, what's going on?
Did he break his arm?
Fight? Yeah. I was like, no, it's a verbal tap. You can do that.
Yeah, he ain't no savage like, what's that guy? Fucking Tim Sylvia. Just gets his arm snapped in half, pissed off the fight.
Yeah, he just keeps fighting.
It's like, man, I would have won. What the fuck?
I know. Wild.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was a very good fight. Hats off to Jim Miller. It looked fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. The vet still got it, man.
He still got it and holds the tied for the record for the most fights in the UFC at 35 fights.
Wow. I wonder how far away he is from wins. He's obviously he's always kind of been the journeyman of the lightweight, but at one point this man was ranked top 5. So I mean he's had a great career.
Yes, he does.
I mean he's got to be up there for wins.
Right.
He's no slouch. He's no slouch. Nobody's just putting away real quick. I mean that's kind of what we expected. I mean, no disrespect to Jim Miller, but Roosevelt Roberts looked amazing in his last fight.
Well, he looked amazing in his last fight, and that's kind of what I was going off of, the young prospect fighting Jim Miller. But again, Jim Miller, he looks revitalized. Like, he doesn't look like the man who's had 35 fights in the UFC. Like, when he went out there and put on that performance, I was like, damn, I can't wait for the next Jim Miller fight. I can't wait to see who he gets matched up with next.
Yeah. Does he make another title run? Probably not. He's talked about retirement before. And like even his last few fights, it's always something like, how many fights you got left, Jim? He's like, I don't know, man. I'm coming out here, I'm winning. It's like it's almost one of those Joe Lozon situations where, he got fucked up before and everyone's like, when's Joe Lozon going to retire? Yep. And then he comes out, looks great, gets a couple wins, and he's like, man, if I'm still winning, why stop?
It would be an absolute travesty, okay, if Jim Miller does not get into the UFC Hall of Fame. He has fought the best of the best throughout his entire career. He has fought everyone under the sun. That man needs to be in the UFC Hall of Fame. And if
Absolutely.
they don't get it done in the next 5 to 8 years, that's going to be a real disappointment.
Yeah, I think more fighters, especially that era of fighters that are still fighting, like there's so many of them.
And still winning, more importantly. You see a lot of guys. You see the prodigy himself, BJ Penn, fall off the wagon and not being able to compete still in this new era of MMA. But then you got guys, you got these savages like Jim Miller who come out and beat a young prospect, and you're like, whoa, hold up, rewind. Why are we not thinking more about Jim Miller? And I'm to blame. I'm to blame. I thought it was, one of his last fights. He came out, he just looked real good, man. Hats off to Jim Miller. And he's a real salt of the earth kind of guy, too. He's a great dude. He's got 4 kids,
Yeah, I don't really want to see him get fed to these young savages, man. I didn't really like this matchup, but he proved us all wrong.
He still got it.
Proved us all wrong, but I mean, I kind of want to see him, Clay Guida, those type of guys fighting each other.
I would like to see that. Maybe
Bobby Green.
Yeah, I'd like to see that Green
matchup.
Miller. Yeah, that'd be a good fight.
Yeah,
I'm fine with
that.
Great
Matchup, actually.
Both coming off wins.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we both took Roberts.
We did.
No points.
No points.
No points. Sorry, Jim. Never again.
Never again. We ain't
Until you just watch it
again,
gets matched up like Islam Makhachev, like, oh shit. Like, damn it, sorry, Jim. Anyways. So main event on the prelims, fight we did pick Bobby Green, the OG himself, against another OG, Clay Guida.
And man, I again, 2 OGs of the game.
Oh,
2 guys who have been around forever. I remember the first, one of the first cards I had ever watched back in 2008. So I'm not a 25-year, because that's literally when I was born is when UFC started.
Yeah.
But I started watching in 2008, and the first time I ever watched a card, I'll never forget it, UFC 98, Rashad Evans against Lyoto Machida was the first card I had ever watched. Never heard of the UFC, had no idea what the hell it was. Watched it and fell in love instantly, like literally instantly, and then was able to go to 102 because that was in Portland. It was awesome. But the point I was making is Clay Guida has been around since that time.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Since before then.
And dude, I gotta be honest, man. This fight went all 3 rounds, and both Bobby Green and Clay Guida look good.
Yeah.
This was a fun fight.
It was a very fun fight.
I was pleasantly surprised by this, and it really does amaze me, these type of athletes who can have 35, 40 fights, 50 professional fights, and still go out there and compete and kick some ass.
I love Bobby Green. I love his style. Dude, and he's just, kind of talking shit, moving his head. His hands are down by his knees almost.
It's so funny because Ken was like, "Why doesn't that guy put his hair in a?" I go, "That's Clay Guida's style, man. He's got to have that wavy hair going."
If he doesn't see his hair in his eyes, it's just he knows he's gonna lose.
Well, because his MO is like putting it back and then it falls in his face again.
Exactly.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I love that. Just the both of them, and the way Clay Guida, everyone would think just with how many years this guy has been fighting, man. There has to be at some point there's got to be a drop off, right? He hasn't showed it.
No, and his cardio looked good.
He looked great. The way he was chaining takedowns with his striking, he just looked like a vet that's been in the game forever and knows exactly what the fuck to do in every situation. And his corner, and going into that 3rd round, his corner was giving him the most perfect corner advice.
Yeah.
The most perfect. Telling him exactly what to do in this type of situation to get out of against that. Watch out for the counters, more head movement, blah, blah. It was telling him all the good shit. He wasn't going, hey, watch the bees. Watch out for the sticky shit.
Yeah. Diego Sanchez, coach. What is that guy, Fabio?
Fabio, fucking, who gives a shit?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
About
The
that
fucking...
That guy's crazy.
That
guy's crazy as hell. But yeah, I don't know how many more fights this guy's got, dude, but I feel like he's one of those guys that's going to keep fighting forever. Keep
fighting, man.
He will. He will. Just watch. He'll end up getting matched up with somebody here in the next 6 months. I'd almost guarantee it, dude. He's one of these guys who fights every 6 months. He just is. Like, he'll do that till he dies, or at least till he can't fight anymore.
Yeah, until he can't fight anymore. No.
Crazy. It's crazy to think about that. There's still guys like that. I know. Diego Sanchez, like, that guy's been fighting.
Still fighting. And again,
He'll
one of those
retire.
guys who will still win fights, too.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah. I want to see that rematch. Clay Guida, fucking Diego Sanchez at 170.
Yeah, I'd like that.
I'd love to see that. Because neither of them have to cut weight at all.
No.
Clay Guida's got to be cutting a lot of weight to get 155. He was going 145. Like, dude, how old are you? Don't get no more.
Don't
weight,
be
dude.
doing
Just
that,
take
man.
these glory fights, man. Take these legendary fights,
especially
these OG fights.
Especially because like you've obviously proven time and time again that you're in shape. You put on entertaining fights. again, like this was a fun fight for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really fun
Very
fight.
fun fight.
Let's talk about the points. We both had Green, who won. You had him I had him first round.
Yep. I had him third round TKO. So yeah,
but decision. So 1 point apiece. We both got 9 points for this UFC Blaydes versus Volkov.
Yeah. Should we finally talk about our totals?
Yeah, let's talk about our totals.
We've
never talked about the totals, so let's do it.
So I'm at 94 points, just so everybody knows. And
I've had a rough go at this whole pick'em. I am at 71 points. So Tabor has got
creeping on me, though.
23-point lead, but the year is still young, folks.
Yeah.
We're only halfway through it. You never know.
Yeah, you're creeping on me, though. You know,
never
all
know.
it takes is a couple cards of me just eating shit, and then
Vegas says I am a plus 220 underdog. So if you want to go make Vegas bets, now's the time to do it, folks.
Yeah, what should we do? I mean, we're kind of done with our preview show, so we're kind of moving on in MMA news. But before we even start that, like, what should we do for our competition? We haven't really talked about that a whole lot.
We should do something, and that is all I know.
Yeah, something. And have
But
a belt.
it could be something cool. We could buy a belt.
Yeah, let's get a belt or something like that. And then maybe the loser has to donate $50 to a charity or something.
There we go. Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then the winner will
Something
donate
that.
$50 too, just because we're that nice. Not the Red Cross though.
Or I mean, don't get me wrong.
We'll give it to someone that actually
great
uses
thing,
money.
but we could also just do a. I think this would be good.
Charity drive or
so the
something?
loser. Well, I mean, charity. Yeah, great. I'm thinking more of ourselves too. I mean, charity's great. We could do a charity thing but a UFC $100 gift card.
Ooh.
For the winner, and then you get the strap too.
Ooh, I like that actually. So you can buy T-shirts and shit. That's one thing I need to keep doing, dude. I gotta go get my Fight Island T-shirt.
I know. I'm waiting for the first of the month to get paid, bro.
Yeah, if I buy one, I'll buy you one. You can pay me back. Yeah, we'll make that work.
Yeah, dude. The Fight Island shirts are cool, man. I was looking through the websites. The branding and everything just looks awesome.
Yeah,
I love
it does.
those shirts.
I like the pink one with all the blue lettering and shit like that.
I like that one yellow one with the big front. It's real simple, to the point. I like that Fight Island shirt.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a couple, maybe even a new Sugar Sean shirt.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. UFC Reebok store, best be good to me. They just watch. They don't have any of my shit. I'll be fucking pissed. Anyways, moving on. MMA news. I think we just have to start off with this Max Rothkopf situation. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong. Apologize for that. But this was a huge topic of debate from this last weekend's fights.
A huge topic of debate in the MMA community, and so many varying opinions that I'm very curious, Tabor, to hear your take on this. Obviously, a lot of people thought Max won that first round.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he won. I only heard one or two people say he didn't win that first round, but it was close. It was a close first round.
I could hear the argument for both, honestly.
Yeah, but in that second round, he was gassed. Keep in mind, Max took this fight on like a 5 or 10 day notice.
Yeah, 10 days I heard, yeah.
He's 5-0 in the UFC. It's his not in the UFC, excuse me. In professional career. This is his first fight in the UFC on a 5 to 10 day notice. What was it? 5 or 10 days?
It was 10 days, and apparently he had a Zuffa contract, and the only way this contract really worked out was he was guaranteed a spot on the Contender Series. And obviously, that's not happening right now. Right. I mean, we're lucky we're getting fights. So Contender Series, that's getting pushed way to the background. Like, let's just get these fucking fights going first.
Yeah.
Like,
which, you know what? I got to be honest with you. In these situations, you're a fighter. You really just want to fight. You want to fight for the best organization in the world. Mm-hmm. I'm cool with a few of these contender guys that are kind of on like, oh, maybe we should have these guys fight on Contender before they make it to the UFC. To hell with it, man. Throw them on a prelim.
Yeah.
I'll watch these new and upcoming fighters.
Me too.
I have no problem with it.
I'm 100% okay with it. It's just now we're getting into the situation of what happened. This wasn't just an up-and-coming Contender Series guys fighting another up-and-coming Contender Series guys. This was an up-and-coming Contender Series fighting a 10-fight UFC vet.
Yes.
And a guy that has fought savages and Tony Ferguson, top guys. So this was really a kind of a mismatch matchup right off the bat. A guy with
that's an understatement.
Technically, I think I don't remember what program I heard this on, maybe Ariel Helwani or someone, but apparently this Max kid only had one amateur fight before he started his professional debut. That's crazy to me.
That's crazy.
That's crazy to me. And then the fact that that's even allowed to happen in this sport just still shows you how young the sport is. Because no one's going to go, oh, he's only had one amateur basketball fight. Sign him to the Celtics. Like, what? What? That's just unheard of.
Well, let's talk about the actual controversy at play here. Max, End of the second round, sitting on the stool, telling his coach 9 different times, I pull me out of the fight. I don't want to be here.
And before we move on, was that round a 10-8 round in your opinion?
Yes.
It was?
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion,
it was
yes.
It was very, very close to being there, so I could understand it being a 10-8 round. It's very hard to get a 10-8 round nowadays. It's like a stingy thing that is, more people aren't giving 10-8s when they probably should.
Yeah, I like 10-8s. I like 10-8s because if a round is just so dominant for a fighter, I like the 10-8 thing. It makes things more interesting. And I think there's a lot of fights where they're so razor thin close that they deserve a majority draw.
Yeah.
Or just a draw in general. You get what I'm saying?
There needs to be more draws. There needs to be more 10-8s. I absolutely agree 100%.
Especially when you're talking about these guys' career. One loss can set you back 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely.
It's huge. It's huge for someone's career. So when a fight that's so razor thin close, I'm fine with draws.
Like Dan Hooker, Paul Felder.
That
was a draw in my opinion. If it wasn't a draw, it's fucking. I thought Paul Felder won that fight, but
a lot of people did.
I get it. It's Kiwis, New Zealand judges. I get it. It happens. So back to Max Rothkopf. Yeah, as you said, 9 times said I'm done. And Robert Drysdale. So quick, Robert Drysdale, former UFC fighter.
Yes.
Probably still on the roster. So fighter himself, world-class fighter, undefeated submission specialist. And that was Max Rothkopf's game. He was a submission specialist. 5 submissions in a row. Every fight's been finished by submission. So the second he could not handle on the ground with Austin Hubbard had that great defense. We saw those transitions in the first round.
Yes.
Those heel hook defenses. When he had both his legs were wrapped up. That's when you get heel hooked. When both your legs are wrapped up like that, because his lower one was right there for it, and he even had it multiple times. Still rolled out. Still had the perfect defense. Very good on Austin Hubbard, and people aren't even talking about that. What a performance by him, by the way.
Yeah, and that is very sad that this whole scenario is overshadowing Hubbard's performance.
Completely overshadowing, but 9 times, Robert, stop it. I'm done.
Okay.
Call it.
So let's break this down. As a coach, that is your job and responsibility is to talk to your fighter. You think this is the first scenario ever where a fighter says, "Coach, I don't know if I can do this."
Nope, Raquel Pennington.
Exactly. There's one example. There have been so many examples. And you know what? Like, we don't have a crowd. We do not have a crowd. Yes, the mics are always hot, but they might not have caught that normally had this not been in a UFC Apex. And I think there's so many controversies within this. A lot of people are saying that the coach should have just not talked his fighter into it, but that's really not the fighter-coach relationship. You really shouldn't butt in on that unless you really, really know. I think towards the end, when your fighter says, "I don't want to do this 8 or 9 times," then you pull the plug, hypothetically speaking. You know what I'm talking about. But I look at the situation, I thought it was perfectly handled. I really did. I thought the coach tried his best to get his fighter off the stool. The fighter didn't want to get off the stool. He made his fighter go until the referee came over, overheard it. Or actually not the referee, but it was
the inspector, commission inspector.
Yes, the inspector heard it, and then he went to get the referee because in the Las Vegas or the Nevada State Commission, the only way a fight can end is if the referee calls it, not, So the referee came over and he asked him, he goes, "Do you want to continue this fight?" And he says, "No." And then they call off the fight.
Yeah. I
don't understand really what the controversy is. And as far as Max, people are saying, "Man, you can't give your fighter an out. You can't do that. He's not a real fighter." Well, I could put as an MMA fan, and that's all I am. I'm not a practitioner. I don't never had a fight, as far as like in a cage or whatever. So I don't understand from the fighter's perspective, but from the fan's perspective, I don't have a problem with Max. Max felt like he was outclassed.
He was absolutely outclassed.
This is a young guy who has had 5 professional fights in his entire career, and he's thrown up against a guy who's had 10 plus fights in the UFC. Who's you could almost call a vet at this point.
Yeah, pretty
much.
Just
based on who he's fought and who. So for me, I didn't have a problem with this kid saying, "Hey, I've taken enough damage. I cannot continue." Only he knows his body. I don't know why there's such a negative stipulation around these fighters calling it. But again, I don't see from the fighter's perspective. I've listened to other fighters' opinions, like DC for one. DC was on him and Ariel's show, and DC said that he kind of had a problem with it. You can't give your fighter that out. But for me as a fan, I had no problem with it at all, man. I'm really confused where this whole controversy is coming from. How do you feel about it?
Well, and mainly the controversy is people are pissed off at Robert Drysdale for trying to essentially force his hand by going, Max, you're a champion. Do you really want to lose, Max? Call it. Are you sure, Max? Max, you are a champion. You cannot lose this way. You are a champion. Come on, champ. Let's go, champ. That's what you have to do.
That's what you have to do as a coach.
Yes, you have to as a cornerman. If you're not doing those things, you are not doing your fucking job.
Right.
And it's as easy as that. But 9 times, it's 100% mental by then. He's mentally out of the fight. Was he hurt past to the point of no return? Wasn't an Anthony Smith situation? Fuck no, it was not.
Yeah, but again, you're talking about a former fighter here.
Yeah.
He knows. I mean, to a certain extent, like he knows what is going through Max's head. And he is thinking, hey, kid, you're going to regret this down the road.
And he will one day, I guarantee
You're going to wish you would have went out there in that third round, even if you lost that third round, because you want to learn something. You got to learn something here in this situation. So I get from the coach's perspective, Robert Drysdale, why he was trying adamantly to get his fighter off that stool.
Yes.
But again, it's not like he picked up his fighter and pushed him out there. They ended up calling the fight. The coach did everything in his power. I do not see an issue here.
Yes, I agree.
All.
And Robert Drysdale was on Ariel Helwani's show yesterday, and he was asked multiple times, hey, do you stand by your decision? And he says, absolutely, 100%. If that happened again, I will do the exact same thing over again. He goes, if someone was in my corner, if Max was in my corner, I would want him to do that to me.
Yeah, you would expect it.
You know, exactly. You would expect it. It's 100% mental. And you never know in those situations whether you can throw that wrench in there to get his fucking shit moving again. Like, you never know what's going to do it to get him mentally back in the game. He was so out of it. He was so demoralized from being fucked up that bad in the second. I get it. I understand. He's a young guy. It's only 5 fights. And it was his first UFC fight. Did not go the way he wanted. So I just get it. I get it on all situations. I don't like the heat Robert Drysdale is getting, but, you know,
I don't like the heat Max is getting either.
It.
And I don't even know this fighter. This is the first time
True,
I've ever
he is
seen
getting
him.
heat. A lot
He's
of
got
fighters.
A lot of heat, man. They're saying,
a lot of fighters
you're not
call
a
him
fighter.
pussy.
You're not a real fighter. It's like, hold on, man. I mean, dude, the guy's had, again, he's had 5 fights. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax. He's a young kid. He's going to learn from this.
Yeah.
He's going to get better. Like, don't count this kid out already.
Yeah, essentially Dana White and all them did. Some people are being a little conspiratorial in the background going, You know, Dana White said that his manager was blowing up Sean Shelby, constantly saying how this kid's the next fucking Khabib, this kid's the next this, that, he's the next calling of Christ. And, you know, Austin Hubbard's fight fell out.
Yeah.
10-fight vet, Savage.
Let's see how good this
Let's
Max
see how
kid
this kid really is, and stuck him in with a fight they all knew he was going to lose.
Yeah, I think it's mismanagement. Granted, at the end of the day, this is where I do agree with like people who have this point of view. You did sign on the dotted line. You got to show up and be ready.
Yeah,
and I felt like he did show up and fight to the best of his abilities, but that second round, he was just getting outclassed.
and he was gassed too.
He was, of course.
His cardio was not there.
On a 10-day notice, here's the thing, man. There are levels to this game. And we can witness this. We know this. You can go to a private show here in Portland and watch 2 guys fight and go, wow, those guys would beat my ass. But then you go to a UFC event, you go, oh, this is a whole nother dimension. This is a whole nother level of cardio. So it's like, again, man, this kid just got thrown into a situation. He signed the dotted line. Go in there and fight. Yep. He tried his best, but he was gassed. And only he knows how he felt, man. Only he knows how he felt. I don't have a problem with fighters doing this. I do not think less of fighters when they pull out.
Yeah.
I don't. And that's just from a fan's perspective. I get it. Your health is your number one priority.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, if Josh Emmett would have pulled out, if he would have said, I'm done, and then come to find out that he blew out his ACL
I don't
and
understand
everything.
that. 100%.
You think I'm going to be like, oh,
what a fucking pussy. You should have fought. Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
Dude, I
100%.
tweak my ankle and I'm out for a week.
Stub my toe.
Right. So, again, I completely understand, even if you're a fighter, like, injuries happen.
Yep.
And not just injuries, but gassing out to where you know you're not going to be able to defend yourself.
Yep.
And isn't that the whole thing? Like, don't you want your fighters to intelligently defend themselves?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then why is it such a big deal he didn't get out in the third? Do you want to see him get knocked out?
Yeah. Why? That's a question I got to ask Drysdale. Like, dude, what were you expecting him to do in the third? Like, he's gassed. You don't see that? Like, it's obvious the fans do, but you don't see that? Like,
but again,
I get it.
That's the fighter's
it's
perspective,
yeah.
And he's a former fighter, and he's doing his job as a coach. So
yeah.
in that situation, I don't have a problem with it because the fight was called. Now,
Exactly.
if he's pushing up Max and he's like, get out there, champ. You
Yeah,
got
and then he
this.
goes out there and gets
And
finished.
gets
It's
the
way
ball.
more
It's
egregious.
way
It's a total
egregious.
different
Yes.
ball game.
Right.
Absolutely, 100%.
But the fact that there was enough time to be able to, and the coach just kept saying it over and over, being loud enough so the health administrator or whatever could hear.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, if that inspector didn't hear, maybe the ref doesn't come over.
No.
And maybe it's a whole different situation, But luckily, Max was the one that said, no, I can't continue.
Yeah.
So, and he said it straight to the ref, which ended it. So, yeah, moving on because we're already almost to an hour.
Oh, that's fine.
No, do you have anything else you want to add to that? No, real quick.
As far as Max, keep your head up.
Yeah, keep your head up, honestly, because
Again, man.
it's not over.
Yeah.
Maybe because some of that heat with Dana, he did not talk nicely about the kid at the end.
Yeah,
Maybe he doesn't get another shot at the UFC, but you know what, dude? If he gets a couple more wins in another organization, I know stuff isn't moving right now with Rona, but you never know. He did take a fight in the middle of this pandemic. The UFC is the only people doing fights. Maybe they return the favor. You never know.
Well, and that's the thing, too. I return the favor. And again, kid took it on 10-day notice. I know.
Exactly.
He signed the dotted line. You got to be ready. But I don't think he knew, again, he's a young kid. I don't think he knew that new level, and now he knows. Yeah. Now he knows. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's move on to our next topic.
Yep. Fight Island fights were announced.
Yes, they were.
Everyone probably knows them already, but whatever. We're going to talk about them anyways.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yeah, so we all know 251. Everyone knows that. It's been talked about. We've talked about it in our past episodes. Check those out everywhere you get your podcast, guys. Quick little shameless plug.
There you go.
Either way, July 15th, the Wednesday after 251, we are getting fights. And holy shit, what a main event we are getting. Oh my goodness, Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige.
As the main event for a Wednesday fight night. I like it.
Oh my God, dude. What?
I still don't. I'm still on the fence about Dan Ige and whether or not he beat Barbosa, but nonetheless, it was a great fight.
Yeah, I thought he won, but yeah, great fight. Like I said, great fight. I don't know, man. This fight, oh my God. Like I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige, this is going to be a fight of the year candidate right there. Asterisk this fight, guys. If you don't watch this fight, you're obviously not a fan. Because this is going to be one of the biggest fights of the year.
That's quite the statement, man.
Dude, this is fight of the year candidate.
Really?
Fight of the year candidate. Dan Ige is fucking real. I'm all in on Dan Ige now, dude. I've been all in on him since this podcast has started. I've went with him every time. I'm all in on him. This Calvin Kattar fight is going to get him in the top 5. This is going to get him that Brian Ortega fight. This is going to get him that Korean zombie fight.
Right.
Obviously, early pick. I guess I'm just telling you. It's Dan Ige, but dude, this is a fucking fight, man. This is a great fight.
It's a great Wednesday fight night main event.
Wednesday fight?
Definitely.
What?
Hey, I'm
Dude,
all
my head's
for
about
it.
to explode.
I know, right? Well, let's talk about this July 18th. We got the rematch of Figueiredo versus Benavidez for the vacant flyweight belt. Obviously, we know Figueiredo won that fight. Unfortunately, did not make weight. I think he was 3.5 pounds off, something like that, to that effect. Ended out going out TKO and Benavidez in the second round, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and it was kind of off of, everyone remembers the headbutt. It was the headbutt that wobbled Benavidez, and then the right hand finished him. Yep. It was a pretty clean finish. Yes, the headbutts are dirty a little, but you know what? Shit like that happens.
Yeah,
and it was pretty much Benavidez' fault that he got headbutted. He did duck under.
That's what I was going to say, too. It wasn't like Figueiredo intentionally headbutted him. Like, headbutted. That doesn't sound like a right word. But it was, in a sense, kind of Benavidez coming into it. So,
so it was a bit of a level change.
I love this rematch. I'm actually really excited for this for July 18th. This is going to be great rematch, great fight.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic fight. I can't wait for that fight. But my most exciting fight, other than Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige, I think that's my fight of July. That's my fight of July. But this fight is neck and neck.
Oh my God, I love this fight.
Dude.
I love this matchup. We've got July 25th, Robert Whittaker versus your boy, Darren Till.
Oh my God.
And man, Till coming off that win against Kelvin Gastelum looked phenomenal in that fight. I'm so excited. Robert Whittaker obviously coming off that loss to Izzy, but and took some time off. You know, obviously took some time off, did what he needed to do.
Said he was burnt out.
This is a perfect fight for both fighters.
Oh my goodness.
It's amazing. I cannot wait for this. And I will say this fight right there, July 25th, is my most looked forward to fight out of these 3 cards.
Wow. Okay.
Not the July 11th cards. Well, actually maybe.
Yeah,
that
maybe,
fight
dude. That's a
still-
big fight.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a big fight. That might be bigger than Volkanovski Holloway too.
Holloway too, yeah.
Like there might be more hype on that fight. I don't know what it is, but people are sleeping on Dan Ige, dude. If he wins that fight, he's gonna be the name at 145, I think. But yeah, this Whitaker Till fight, dude. Oh my God. This fight was supposed to be made in Dublin. It fell through, obviously, Rona. Got remade for this. Till has been talking a lot of shit, not only to Whitaker, not only to the entire middleweight division, but more specifically to a Mike Perry. He started a Mike Perry is a bum.com.
Oh, that's so funny.
And it was just pictures of Mike Perry like getting knocked out from Jeff Neal. And it was like our partners, and every picture was like Dana with Photoshop Darren Till face and like someone else with Photoshop Darren. It was so funny, dude.
Yeah,
He's just
man.
been ultimately trolling the fuck out of him for the last few weeks.
Yeah, got a lot of hype behind that fight.
Yeah.
So you brought up Jeff Neal. We'll get to the one in the middle there. But we're talking about Jeff Neal. Let's talk about this little piece of news, Tapes.
So Jeff Neal, everyone knows this. So he was a bartender before his last fight. After he gets that $50,000 bonus from KOing Mike Perry in the first round, amazing fight. His come out fight, Jeff Neal is real, hands of motherfucking steel.
Oh, yeah.
And then he quit his job. And he was super happy. He was on to the next chapter of his life, on to the next fight, essentially. And no one's signing the dotted line.
And can you blame anyone for not wanting to fight Jeff Neal?
No. No,
I mean, God.
It was to the point he has to go back to bartending.
I know.
He's bartending again, and he's pissed off he doesn't have a fight. He's
I
like,
wouldn't
what the
want to
fuck?
fight the guy either, man. I mean,
Dude.
this dude literally has hands of steel.
Yes,
He will
it's no
put you
joke.
to sleep permanently.
Permanently. Puts you in the
It's
dirt.
wild, man. I mean, say what you will about Mike Perry. Mike Perry's a crazy motherfucker.
Crazy.
But I've not seen Mike Perry finish the way Jeff Neal finished it.
Vicente Luque couldn't do it. That's the matchup. Vicente Luque, Jeff Neal.
I like that.
Oh my
I like
God.
that a lot.
That's a great fight. Do it. Vicente Luque will take that fight. Who are they offering him that they're not taking this fight?
I do not know.
It's got to be big top guys that are like, oh, fuck.
Oh, they're like, no,
If
we're not
I lose
taking
to this
Jeff.
guy, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never getting a title shot. So
Yeah.
top
Well,
guys
I'm not
must be turning him
breathing
down.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a scary man.
Hands of steel.
Yeah.
That guy, he's not the biggest 170, but he might be the most jacked other than Lyman Good. Lyman Good's probably the only person bigger than Jeff Neal.
Yeah, you know, but shout out to Jeff Neal. Dude, that sucks. That sucks.
Totally
You got to go
sucks.
back to bartending because, man, you're an elite fighter.
Yeah.
A savage, man. Just, I love watching him fight. Anytime he's on, I'm like, okay. And, you know, I have thought that. I'm like, why have I not
it's
seen
been
Jeff
forever.
Neal?
It's been forever.
Because no one wants to sign the fight, man. No one wants to fight the guy. Can you blame him?
No.
No. No, you really
Nope.
can't. Let's move on to this next piece of news, though. Mike Tyson...
Versus.
Obviously, looking. I really,
we'll go into
I
that.
really,
We'll go into
yeah, I really had that on a cliffhanger there.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, though, you know, obviously 53 years old, says he's got the fire back in his belly. He wants to box one last time, but he needs the right opponent. Obviously, we saw the whole John Jones thing with Mike Tyson and them kind of going back and forth. Mike Tyson saying something along the lines of, "Hey, man, you want to make a lot of really good money, $100 million? You got to fight a guy like me, not." Someone else. And then John Jones replied, only if you give me an octagon fight, which is kind of ironic because that's the same thing Conor said to Floyd Money Mayweather. He
You
goes, but
imagine
I'll try
Mike
not to
Tyson.
break you.
You imagine Mike Tyson with 4-ounce gloves. He might murder the first person he hits.
Yeah, but John Jones just takes him down and beats the shit out of
obviously,
him.
yeah,
I mean, he's
obviously.
53. I love Mike Tyson. I can't wait to see him fight. But this one right here, Tabor, the reason why I just kind of skimmed over the John Jones, because that'll never happen.
This
you
one's
know that,
very
right? I mean, you
realistic.
agree.
Yeah,
that
I
one's
agree.
not
100%. Never's going to happen. Never.
But I love this. Mike Tyson versus Shannon the Cannon Briggs.
So-
let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ.
Let's go.
Let's
champ.
fucking go, because I would love to see that.
Oh,
the
yeah,
most
man.
jacked, giant. How old is Shannon Briggs?
He's like 51,
He's got to
52.
be 50-something.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's 50. It's a perfect fight.
It
it's
is.
a perfect matchup.
It is, and the motherfucker's still fighting. Shannon the Cannon's been trying to get that to not a title fight because he doesn't have the belt, but he wants that Klitschko fight. He
does.
Obviously not going to get it.
No.
Klitschko's like, fuck
Yeah, he's like,
you,
nah,
dude.
bro.
It's not happening.
Never.
Yeah, so that's a great fight, dude. I would love to see that. I would buy that pay-per-view. I would pay $100 for that, dude. I don't give a shit. I don't care what's the co-main. I don't care if it's Joe Schmo fighting me. I'm still buying it.
Yeah, in this one, as far as this matchup, makes the most sense.
Yes.
It makes the most sense.
No one else is going to fight Shannon.
No.
Why not?
Why not throw in Mike Tyson?
Why
That'd be
not?
Fun, man.
Poor
That'd be such a
Shannon.
fun fight.
Poor Shannon the Cannon, because
I know, dude.
that guy is not fought in forever.
That's the thing. He's like 50 and people are still scared of him.
they're ducking him left and
Everyone's
right.
ducking him. No one wants a piece of Let's Go Champ.
No one. You ever see that video of him messing with Klitschko in that restaurant? He's like throwing his food on him and shit like that. Like, dude, they almost got a fist fight in the middle of a restaurant.
Yeah, that's definitely canon.
Yeah,
That's Shannon.
it was crazy. It was awesome. Yeah, but that would have been an amazing fight. Make that happen, guys. If I mean, everyone thought it was Evander Holyfield.
Uh-huh.
Is that not happening? I don't know.
No,
so
I
I just
don't
heard
think-
this was a rumor. Like, this isn't confirmed.
Yeah,
or
no, of
anything.
course not.
But these are the rumors, apparently. So
Yeah, I just don't see Evander Holyfield getting back in the ring. I just don't see that, man.
yeah, well, I saw Mike Tyson, the video of him in his underwear, essentially hitting mitts. I wouldn't want to get back in with him.
Nor would I.
Dude,
God,
if
that
you've been
guy's
on the
scary.
couch at any amount of time, you're not getting in the ring with that man.
No.
Like, let's be real. Shannon
you gotta
Cannon hasn't been on the couch.
No, he is not.
No, this motherfucker's been in the ring and in the weight room every goddamn day for his entire life. So that's a great matchup. Make it happen. Make it happen.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, so Gilbert Burns wants Conor out of the UFC rankings, and thank God someone said it.
Someone finally said it.
Someone said it. Get Conor out. Didn't he retire?
Apparently.
Can we pull him out of the lightweight rankings? Can we pull him out of the welterweight? And can we just forget that he even exists? Because all I want to do is watch real champions, real prize fighters fight, and not dudes who tweet every freaking week that they're going to fight, and then they don't fight. And it's supposed to be my season. I'm going to have 3 fights, and I fight a guy in Donald Cowboy Cerrone, and I deserve the next title shot. Shut the hell up, Conor.
Forget that he exists. Dude, I've been trying to do that for the last 2.5 years.
Bro, it's just like...
It's impossible. He's in the news every day. It's
every
like,
day,
it's crazy.
and it's just so I get it. He's the biggest star of all time in the UFC, and rightfully so. The man has made a name for himself. He knew how to market. Conor is tremendously smart in that aspect, and I give him all the credit in the world for that. But I don't want to fucking hear him when it comes to fighting, because he's not going to fight.
Yeah.
This podcast is about fighters who fight.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor does not fight.
Yep.
He talks.
Yeah.
And he'll talk for 2 years. He just wanted to get a win. He wanted to end his career with a win. Let him sail off in the wind with this $400 million and this proper 12, whiskey.
Yeah.
Let him do it. But I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
Until he signs on the dotted line, I don't want to talk about Conor.
Yeah. Neither does Dana. Every time you ask Dana a question about Conor, he goes, Conor McGregor's retired.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is retired.
Well,
We still fucking 3 in the world on your rankings, motherfucker.
I know.
Henry
Pull him.
Cejudo got pulled out instantly.
instantly.
Real quick, get him the
Yep.
fuck out. Fuck him. That's exactly what happened.
Yep.
What's the difference here? Oh, one's not bringing in millions and millions and millions of dollars. Oh, and one, you didn't gurgle his nuts for 6 years, essentially. So
Yeah, but I mean, I also don't blame Dana White either. I don't want to talk about. I wouldn't if I was Dana White. I got all these fights going on. I don't want to talk about Conor either.
yeah.
He retired. When Conor wants to come back, he'll come back.
If
Do I think Conor could potentially come back? Yeah, if he gets the fight he wants and the money he wants.
well,
but
let's be real. It's
again,
pretty obvious he's probably going to fight again. And if
Yeah.
he doesn't, it's going to be a giant shame because essentially the guy's leaving in his prime. And let's be real. He never has to fight again.
No, he never does. Never.
He never had to take the Habib fight.
Nope.
He never had to take the Cowboy fight.
Nope.
Why did he? Because he's a competitor at heart. And so,
He is.
we talk all this shit, but it's true. The man's a competitor at heart.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
he wants to compete. I don't see him retiring.
You don't get to where Conor McGregor does unless you are an elite competitor.
Yes.
Unless you're an elite athlete. I'm not taking any of that. I'm not saying that this dude didn't deserve to be double
he's
champ.
just annoying as fuck and needs to shut the fuck up.
Right.
I get
it's
that.
just, my focus is on fights every single
Yes.
week. It's not on what, I never want to make this a
Conor
tabloid,
podcast,
Conor podcast. Because it's just,
essentially.
man, every single week there's something with Conor.
Really is.
I mean, we bring it up, we talk about it, and that's fine. But I never want to be on that bandwagon of like, oh, Conor, this is going to headline every single one of our episodes. No,
Absolutely. So last
talk
bit of
about it
MMA
in
news.
passing.
Yep, last bit of MMA news. Usman did change camps. This was a news about a week ago, and it was something that kind of just was under the radar. No one was really talking about. Like, this would be big news, don't you think?
This is huge news. And I got to be honest with you on this podcast, Tabor, you brought this news to my attention. I had no idea. And I should have put 2 and 2 together. Obviously, they train together.
Yeah, obviously. But you would think the champion
Would
would stay home,
Uh-huh.
not
You
the
would
challenger. Crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy.
But let's say who's who. It's not just Joe Schmo, or he's not just going to American Top Team. Like, I know Colby's gone out of American Top, just goes to American Top Team. That'd be funny.
That would be actually really funny.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah, but he couldn't have picked a better coach. He's training up in Denver right now with Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje and all them.
And you know anything about Trevor Whitman, man? And this is literally verbatim, kind of what Usman said, but we know this because Whitman was just on Rogan's podcast too, where Whitman doesn't train with a bunch of guys. Trains with a very elite, very select few fighters, so he can really focus and hone in on his on the attention. I like this. I like this a lot. If you're going to go anywhere, why not go with Trevor Whitman?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
the man's a legend in the sport.
Yeah.
And as far as coaching and stuff, man.
Yeah. So Usman was asked about it, and he just essentially his reasoning for leaving was that I want a little more specific attention at this point in my career. Somebody to be able to say, you're going to come in at this time, work this particular skill. It's very tough to do that when there are 40 or 50 guys in the room who also need that attention. So essentially saying Henry Hooft, he's just too busy. Yeah. He's too busy to give Usman the attention that he thinks he needs for this fight, which tells me essentially that he's taking Gilbert Burns very, very seriously.
I don't know how you don't.
Yes.
I don't know how you would not take a man like Gilbert Burns seriously because I'll tell you, 2 years ago, didn't think he would be an elite. I mean, I didn't think he would be a title shot in 2 years. Yeah. But man, his dominant performances against Damian Maia, against Tyron Woodley. How do you not take this man serious?
You have to. So just it's very early. Obviously, this fight's happening in a week and a half, but I might take freaking Burns in that fight, dude. I think he's got the better striking for sure. It's going to come down to who has the better wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and we all know who has the better jiu-jitsu.
But man, you know one thing you can never count out is Usman's heart
and top pressure.
Man, yeah,
and cardio.
Because you saw that against Colby
and Tyron.
Yeah, well, and Tyron too. Well, that was just pure domination.
Well, it was pure domination, but he showed the cardio.
The cardio was
5
impressive,
rounds
super
straight.
Impressive.
Yeah.
But he showed his heart in that Colby Covington fight for sure. So yeah, a combination of both those last two fights, that's gonna be a hell of a match.
It's a hell of a fight.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
But crazy news that the champ is leaving his home to go train with Trevor Whitman. Yeah, you are right. You'd figure the challenger would be the one leaving gyms if they're both trained at the same Blackzilian Jiu-Jitsu. Or what is it?
I think it's Black Zillions. It's something else now.
Black Zillions or something like that.
Well, it was Black Zillions, but it's Henry Hoof's gym.
Yeah.
It's something else now. I don't know what it's called. Yeah. Either way, let's move on to our preview show, my man. I think we should start right off with the main event. We are in a little bit of a time crunch, and I would love to get all these fights, but I would hate to hit our limit before we talked about this main event.
Yes, I know. Yeah, let's jump into this one for sure. We still got about 30 minutes, so we're okay.
Okay, good. Great. So, main event of the evening. We are doing things differently. We are working from the top down, but we are getting the goods, the good shit to you first.
Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker.
Oh my goodness.
Holy shit.
Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my God. Like, I don't even know where to start. The matchup. The matchup. What a fight we're in for this weekend, dude. Yeah. 5-round war, fight of the year. Like, this is going to be up there. It's up there. Fight of the year contender. Fight of the decade contender.
Whoa, let's not go that far.
I think so, dude.
Okay. So, it's interesting that you bring that up because I am hyped for this fight. I think it'll be a great fight. But I see a clear winner in this.
Wow, really?
Clear winner. Yep. No questions asked. I believe Dustin Poirier will win this fight. Dustin Poirier, let's just... For one, let's go over his resume. Yes, he lost.
It's godly.
It's wild.
It's godly.
He has beaten. Okay, he lost. His last fight was against Nurmagomedov, of course, for the champion. He lost at UFC 242. We all know that. But then you look at his resume. He has beaten Max Holloway, was the featherweight champ at the time, trying to win that interim belt. Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, the man fighting for the lightweight belt.
Anthony Pettis.
He had a no contest against Eddie Alvarez because, they fought later on. Yep. Jim Miller, Bobby Green. And then, the list gets a little weak after that. But Yancey,
not
too.
Really.
Yeah,
Diego
not really. Diego Fierro.
Bobby Green. Like, it's still fucking savages.
Come on, for me, Dustin Poirier is on a different level than Dan Hooker. I think Dan Hooker looked great against Paul Felder, but I do not see how he's going to be able to withstand a man like Dustin Poirier. Dustin has went to war with some of the most toughest men in this division. I mean,
That
he
Justin
beat Justin
fight.
Gaethje.
Oh my god! I should have rewatched that fight.
Yeah.
I really should have rewatched that fight for this podcast. I almost feel like I'm doing a disservice.
And here's the thing, man. He finished Justin Gaethje.
Finished him, dude.
In the fourth round.
Crazy.
He went out right after that against Eddie Alvarez and finished him in the second round, man. And yeah, he got a decision win over Max Holloway. But you're talking about one of the greatest featherweights of all time.
Asterisk that Eddie Alvarez, fucking, I shouldn't say asterisk, but yes, it was after a weird stand-up situation where Eddie Alvarez kind of had an illegal knee after getting an extremely dominant fit position on Dustin, almost finished Dustin, and then got stood up, and then Dustin got the finish. So crazy turn of events there.
Yeah, for sure. But
crazy turn of events.
At the same time, Dan Hooker has had a very impressive resume over the last probably 3-4 years.
One name right there is screaming at me.
Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert fucking Burns, KO in the first round. I was there in person for that fight.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in Vegas for that fight. I freaked the fuck out. It was the first knockout of the night. It was the second fight of the night, so very, very early. This was before Dan was even ranked. Gilbert was yet to be ranked also at lightweight, just because lightweight is just... Like, those two weren't even ranked.
I know, that's wild.
That's how stacked lightweight is, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, but...
Can you believe Gilbert Burns
crazy
used to fight at lightweight?
Crazy. Dude, he's huge. He's a huge 170.
I don't get how that was ever a thing.
Yeah, he's a huge 170. But, okay, so the Edson Barboza, that was a bit of levels to this game. Striking game. That was a bit of okay, you're not quite there yet, especially in the terms of kicks and surviving kicks.
Well, in surviving kicks and punches to the body more specifically.
The spinning roundhouse kicks to the body were nasty.
We're brutal,
in that
man.
fight. Yeah,
We're
nasty.
brutal.
And he's kind of lucky here because he got 3 fights in a row where he's not getting kicked to the body every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. He beat a guy in James Vick. I feel like everyone's knocked out James Vick at this point.
Yeah, but actually, who was the first? It was Gaethje was really the first. James Vick had one loss his whole career, wasn't by knockout, and then Gaethje KO'd him, and then it's just KO every time.
I'm being very disrespectful. I meant it more as a joke because I feel like the UFC always plays those two highlights, though. I feel like they're always playing that highlight.
They do.
Like, I feel like whenever there's a big highlight with a guy like Dan Hooker or Poirier or whatever.
And James Vick's is just on the unfortunate end of highlights now. The up kick highlight, that was a huge one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one.
But he goes on to beat Alaquinta and Paul Felder. So but for me, man, I just think there's levels to this game. I don't think Dan Hooker's ready for this yet.
Really?
And man, I've been doing a lot of like listening and hearing how these people are training and how they're presenting themselves in the gym. And Dustin, man, everything I've heard of this guy, he is laser focused in. He's ready to go. He wants to go out there and kick some ass. And I know a motivated Dustin Poirier is a scary one.
Okay, so I'm looking at Hooker's record right now. I just wanted to see who are some of his more notable losses that he had. He lost to Yair Rodriguez and Jason Knight. That Jason Knight one's actually that's a red flag in my book.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a few.
It was
years
at 45
back, though,
though. It was at 45 though. He's cutting ungodly amounts. So it's like they're just not the same fighters. He's on a whole nother level. I feel like other than that fighter. Man, this is such a hard pick for me. Such a hard fight for me to pick. I agree with you, dude. I think Dustin Poirier is going to have the success on the feet.
Yep. As to why?
Will Dan Hooker land his signature calf kicks? Will those slow Dustin Poirier down?
Well, here's the thing.
It's smaller octagon.
Yes. What I will say is yes on that. If that is going to be where Dan Hooker will win this fight. If he can attack the legs early and take that power away from Dustin.
That's how he found success with Paul.
But one thing no one's talking about that I think could very well be implemented in Dustin Poirier's game. He might just go out there in the first round and take Dan Hooker down.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that.
Right? Dustin's no joke on the ground, man.
No, he's a savage. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt.
Yes, he's an elite grappler. So for me, like, he could very well take Dan Hooker down and just brutalize him for 2 or 3 rounds.
I don't see that happening. I 100% see this staying on the feet the entire fight.
Well, it definitely could.
That's what I think is going to happen.
But I'm saying, like, Dustin, I believe, is the superior
grappler.
Yes.
For sure, I agree with you 100% on that one. I guess I just have to give you a pick, dude. I didn't write it down. I had no idea. I was debating all night. I was staying up, thinking,
pondering on this
decision. Like, I just don't know, dude. This is like the hardest fight ever for me to pick. Dustin Poirier, 3rd round TKO.
Okay.
I think I don't know why I'm saying this. Like, this is all just 100% bullshit, just spitballing. I don't know, dude. Dustin Poirier, 3rd round TKO. I would not be shocked. I just wouldn't be shocked if he knocked him out. He's got huge power, dude, and he's a thick 155er.
Yeah.
Huge 155er. So is Dan. Dan's also a big 155er. But he doesn't have power like Dustin Poirier has. Neither does Paul Felder, unfortunately. No. So I would not be shocked if that thug jitsu really came out and shined. And he got this TKO.
I'm going to go ahead and pick Dustin Poirier. I think this is going to be a war, a battle. It's going to be a fun one. I'm going to go with a 5th round TKO for Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Fuck, I got to change it. I'm sorry. I got to change it. I'm going Dustin Poirier decision. I have to. Before we move on, I have to. It counts.
Son of a bitch.
I have to.
No, you're allowed to change. Even if whatever we say on the podcast, like you can literally text me the day of the fight and say, hey, I want to switch.
Yeah, that's what Jim Norton and all them do. Oh, and John Anik does it too.
Yeah. And they text each other too. So we can always do that. And then we can just post our picks on our social media.
Yeah.
So people know if anything changes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just going to stick with it. Dustin Poirier decision. I think it goes all 5 rounds now. I don't know why. It could be a finish.
It could.
I just
Very well could.
I just don't know. This one, I just have no idea what's happening, guys. So
let's talk about this. Mike, the co-main event of this fight night, Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall.
First thing, before we even talk about styles, matchups, where this fight is going, who wins, blah, 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 we have to talk about Mike Perry and his girlfriend. Why are we talking about Mike Perry and his girlfriend? Probably because she will be the only coach in his corner.
Yeah, that's so strange.
Let's preference this, though. Mike Perry's girlfriend is also a judo black belt, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, an aikido black belt, a kung fu black... No, I'm just joking. She has nothing.
Oh, okay. I was like...
She has literally zero fighting... She has literally zero fighting experience. This bitch is a barista, I think.
Well, I mean, Mike Perry has always just been literally just crazy.
Crazy, dude.
Like, he's crazy. So I don't put it past Mike Perry, some publicity stunt or something, because if he gets the win, that's going to be a perfect...
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy. I mean, imagine his post-fight interview if he wins this fight.
Could you imagine if they're like, no, I don't even need a cut, man. She's in there just putting
things on him.
Man, that's going to be bad.
How do you see this fight going down?
Really? I'm just going to give you my pick right away because I think it's going to be that easy. I'm going Mickey Gall 1st round submission, dude. I don't think Mike Perry is taking anything seriously right now. I don't know if he's taking life seriously. I don't know if he's taking training seriously. I just don't know. Every time I go on social media, I see him cut, bloodied up like he got in a street fight. Like, he had an Instagram post last week. His face was cut. His knuckles were all bloody. And he's like, fight's still on in a week, bitches. Like, dude, did you just fuck someone up in the street? Like, what? He's a wild man.
Yeah, he is.
He's just a wild man. I don't know what he's thinking. Every time he's asked why your girlfriend in your corner, and that's it. He just essentially goes, I've never once heard anything from a coach in the middle of a fight that I would actually use.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, you have shitty coaches then, dude.
Yeah, you do. You might want to find some new coaches.
Honestly.
So, for me, this is a very interesting fight because I also look at this as if I was in Vegas, who would I put my money on? And interestingly enough, Mickey Gall coming in at a plus 250. Mm-hmm. I would go ahead and throw some money on that just for the hell of it.
Yeah, why not?
Just for the hell of it. I think, again, there are levels to this game. I think Mickey Gall is a good grappler, but he's not an amazing grappler by any stretch of the imagination. He's 6-2. I believe he is 5-2 in the UFC.
Yeah, he was 1-0 before he got in. 2-0 or something like that. Something
to that effect. But he doesn't have a whole lot of fights. He's been beat a couple times. Mm-hmm. But again, for Mike Perry, I don't think Mike Perry's going to go down to the ground easily. And if he does, I think he can have enough defense to at least survive this kid. So for me, I would throw money on Mickey Gall for the hell of it, but I got to go with Mike Perry. I'm going to go with the 2nd round TKO.
Okay.
I think Mickey Gall, I think he's a good grappler. I don't think he's great.
Yeah, I believe he's a black belt already.
Yeah.
So he's essentially been grappling his whole life. I think he started grappling in BJJ when he was like 6 or 7 years old in New Jersey or something like that.
Well,
he goes on podcasts all the time with Luis J. Gomez and Bisping and all that.
Well, I think he also goes on Joey Diaz too. Yeah, Legion of Skanks. He's on that. I think he's been on Joey Diaz's podcast. He's a cool guy, and I think one day, he could definitely be an elite, one of the best grapplers in the UFC. But It's early on in his career. I think Mike
Yeah.
Perry's a little bit more established. Mike Perry's a wild man. He's going to try to throw. He's going to try to knock him out. I don't know if Mickey can handle that on the feet. He's really got to take him down. But if Mike Perry stuffs those takedowns, Mickey Gall's in for a long night.
We might be surprised because Mickey Gall has been doing a lot of talk about his stand-up. He's saying he's really developing it. But, you know, you could also say the same for Mike Perry's jiu-jitsu. I mean, he is training in Florida with Savages and Jacare Souza. I don't know who else is in that gym. It's kind of a small gym, but, you know, he's training with one of the best grapplers in the entire UFC. So wouldn't be shocked if Mike Perry ended up having an advantage on the ground. I would be shocked. I shouldn't say that. I'd be very shocked, actually.
All right, let's move on to this Brendan Allen fight against Kyle Daukaus.
So Brendan Allen was a guy that I really haven't heard of. And then I looked up his record, and I've seen him fight a couple times.
Yeah, he's fought twice. I think 2 or 3 times in the UFC. He had a knockout and a
Recently.
submission. Yeah, both in the first rounds. So.
Yeah, very recently. This guy's a savage, like straight up savage, and won title fights in another organization. What was that organization? LFA. So he has 5-round experience. So that just tells you right now he's only getting 3-round fights. That tells you he's got championship level cardio.
Yes.
Right off the bat. So he's got great cardio, and he's fighting a undefeated savage in Kyle Daukaus.
That's what I'm going with. Daukaus.
Yeah, that sounds right. This guy's making his UFC debut.
He is. Just fought back
Undefeated.
in February, too.
Has a lot of submissions, so he must be a submission specialist. Other than submission, really, that's it. Decision. And one decision. Yeah, 8 submissions, 1 decision.
1 decision.
That's crazy. Yeah. So it's obviously what he's going to do there.
Yeah,
it's obviously what he was going to try and do. He's going to try and take you down and submit you. And, you know, we just saw something. 5-0, undefeated submission specialist, tries to come in against the guy who's got some UFC experience already. Maybe
Could
not
be.
not as experienced as Hubbard.
You think you are. Yeah. And we could be seeing the MO here, the normalcy of these new up and comers, submission artists trying to come in and they just get outclassed. This could very well be the case. I think it will be the case.
Very well. I don't know, man. We'll see. It's because I feel like Brendan Allen is not an Austin Hubbard. He's not a guy that has 10 UFC fights experience.
Of course.
So, but he is a guy that has 5-round championship experience, multiple championship fights experience, and hasn't lost in the UFC. Got 2 losses. Were not happening in the UFC. 3 losses did not happen in the UFC.
Yeah.
So that's very good. If you're on an undefeated streak, whether it's undefeated at all, period, or undefeated in the UFC, I would give the guy undefeated in the UFC a little bit of an edge. So I'm going Brendan Allen, 3rd round TKO. I think he's going to find a way to get it done. I don't know where it goes. Probably on the ground. I mean, obviously you're fighting a submission specialist. It's going to go to the underground.
I think Brendan Allen comes out. I think he submits him in the 2nd round.
Oh, okay. Submits the jiu-jitsu guy.
Correct.
Ooh, levels.
I kind of like that story.
Yeah, that's a good story. I like that.
Alrighty. Well, let's talk about the last fight, Tabes.
Yep. Gian Villante and Maurice Green. Oh my goodness, it's Gian Villante's first fight at heavyweight. Fighting a huge savage in Maurice Green. This guy's a massive heavyweight. I think he's like, 6'6" or something like that?
Big boy.
He's fucking giant, dude. Tall as hell. He's got like a 150,000-inch reach advantage on everyone, essentially, he's ever fought. Gian Villante, oh my God, he's 6'7".
Yeah, he's 6'7".
Oh my goodness, dude. That guy's a giant. He's a giant, and he looks like he has what kind of a fucking beard is that? It looks like an Amish beard.
Kind of like a goatee Amish beard.
It's a straight up Amish beard. But this guy's a savage. I mean, he beat Junior Albini, Jeff Hughes, Michael Batista. He fought Jeff Hughes twice.
Fortunately, coming off a little bit of a skid.
Yeah,
he's lost to Pavlovich and
Oleinik.
But I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, with Oleinik as just a savage. Just a savage. So, I mean, this is probably a pretty well-matched fight. For Gian Villante's first fight at heavyweight, this guy used to make 185.
That's, oh my God.
Maybe he's eating some pizza or something. He must be eating some pizza down there at Sarah's house. I don't know what he's doing, dude, but fuck it. 6'2" heavyweight fighting a 6'7".
I got to be honest, though.
That's a huge advantage.
Oh, that's a huge advantage.
That's a huge advantage.
Villante is going to have the speed advantage. I really believe that. And I think if he can minimize the damage and avoid those big shots by Maurice Green, I think he's got a legit shot in this fight.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see his gut. He's going to have a big old beer gut on him, I guarantee. Doesn't have to cut weight. He's going to be right at 265, big old pot belly. Just ate a slice of pizza. I'd love to see that. And if I do see that, I am still taking Gian Villante by decision. I think he's just going to, exactly like you said. He's going to have the speed advantage. He's going to find a way to get inside, and he's going to piece Murray Screen up. That's what I'm calling.
I'm going to go, I'm also going to go Valente, but I'm going to go second round KO. I think he's just going to be too quick for him. He's going to cause some problems. He might hit him. You hit him with a big shot, man. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to go with the second round knockout.
Absolutely. So there is one fight opening up the main card on ESPN that we are not picking. Sean Woodson, we don't know who he's fighting.
We don't know who he's fighting. ESPN says one thing, UFC says another.
Yeah,
At this point, at a Tuesday before the fight card on Saturday, we have no idea who Sean Woodson's fighting.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip over that one. But I am excited, Tabes, to talk about the violent Bob Ross himself, Luis Pena. Wow. He's already back.
Back against Kama Worthy, and very worthy opponent.
Oh, I like what you did there, Tabes. I like what you did there.
Yeah, but finally, Bob Ross. This guy is slowly becoming one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. Not only just because of his nickname, it's probably one of the best nicknames and most accurate nicknames in the entire UFC.
Oh, yeah.
But his story. Foster child his whole life, went and found his real family, forgave and had a great relationship with them, has a brother he's never met before, and so much good stuff has been happening in this guy's life. And then he got a big win after all that in front of his foster family.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
It was super cool. Great story. Very heartwarming. And he's back in action against Kama Worthy. Is this fight at 145? That's what I don't know. Is it at 145 or 155? It's probably 155, or it's probably even a 150 catchweight.
It might even be a catchweight fight.
Yeah, who knows? There's been doing a lot of catchweight fights. I didn't even look this up. Who gives a shit, really? Because we're going to see some fireworks.
Yes, we are.
Luis Pena shows up to fight every fight. Every fight. He talked shit about his own performance last week. Or not last week. His last performance. Remember that?
He talked shit about it. Really?
Yeah, he was saying, that's not the performance I want. Like, dude, you dominated. You dominated in front of your family. What do you mean that's not the performance you want? You did great. But he's just so hard on himself, you know? He's one of those guys that wants perfection. And he could get that with this fight. I mean, this is a very winnable fight for him. This is a guy they're building, and they're building right. They're not throwing him to the savages. Fuck, that's his record? Oh, my God. I didn't know who this Kama Worthy is until now. That's his record?
That's his record.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Wait. I'm sorry. Scroll down 1 second. Sorry, guys. I know this is great content. He's only had one UFC fight. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
But he is on a 6-fight winning streak.
Yep.
Interesting. And a lot of them are finishes, KOs.
TKO, Devontae Smith, UFC 241.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a year ago.
Yeah. I wonder what's taking him so long to get back in.
Probably a lot of things.
Crazy. Okay, you know what? I thought I recognized his name.
Kama
Worthy. He seems like a recognizable guy. Maybe this isn't his first stint in the UFC. Who cares? Either way, I am taking Luis Pena in this fight just because Violent Bob Ross. Easy as that. Just because of his nickname.
Just because of his nickname. Well, I like it. I mean, you know what? It's easy, simple, to the point, Tabe.
No,
and I appreciate it.
I'm going to take him second round submission, dude. His jiu-jitsu is so good. Every time I see him go down to the ground, he just finds a way to dominate.
Yeah.
Every single time. So that's what I'm expecting him to do. Take Kama Worthy down. He's going to, or might outstrike the striker. Who knows? He's a very well-rounded fighter. So I really see this fight going anywhere and Luis Pena coming out with a W.
All righty. I'm also going to pick Violent Bob Ross. How can you pick against him? But I'm gonna take him in decision.
Okay.
He wins decision.
Okay. Great night of fights, dude. Absolutely great night of fights. But that was another one, Mason.
Yes, it was.
Another successful show. So make sure you guys go follow us. Go show us. Follow us at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at The Church of MMA. We're posting funny memes. We're making you guys laugh. Hit us up. Absolutely. And check out our YouTube channel at The Church of MMA. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, the bell notifications. You guys know what to do. My name is Mason Knight. I'm Tabor. And this is The Church of MMA. Peace.